Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Thanks for joining us for the live interview with Adam of NewMed Direct Primary Care. Adam, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. And I have to admit, because we did this yesterday, you and I, and Dave is our tech person. He wasn't around today. He's doing some military duty. So we're about a minute late. So sorry about that.
Yeah, Dave is our tech guy, but that's all right. We're getting through it together. Well, appreciate you joining us today, Adam.
Thank
Will you
you.
kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself, about NewMed Direct Medical Care, and
Yep.
what led you to start the business?
Okay. And I'll try to keep this under 3 hours. So I'm kidding, 10 minutes or so. I'm a medical physician assistant. I've been doing medicine for about 20 years. I was an exercise physiologist before that. And like everyone else, I was getting pretty frustrated. I didn't like working in the system. I didn't like the system. So probably about 6 years ago, I stumbled across a model called direct primary care. And the whole idea is, how do I just deal directly with the patient? So with that in mind, um, people should have insurance, just like your business, your personal business with insurance, for catastrophic things. But for medical care, if you want to get good medical care, and every time you have a question, they say, well, hold on, let me ask your insurance company. Something's going to give. And that's why with this type of a practice, what we did is we said, you can use your insurance for insurancy things, but care, just like in car insurance, you don't take good care of your car with insurance. You pay a few dollars and you do things that it needs. So with medical care, what we can do is have a direct relationship with the patient. We can do whatever labs we want to do because we get them at wholesale. And if you have a concern about something in particular, I don't ask anyone else's permission. I answer to the board of medicine. That's it. And then I answer to the patient. So that's the quick version, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a great background about yourself, about NewMed, and kind of the direction that you guys are heading and the way that you help your clients. And so if
Yes.
I'm looking for direct primary care, what differentiates NewMed, and how do you help your patients or clients or sometimes even
Sure.
friends to um, whether that's getting them into a better place for their mental health, physical health, whatever. I guess kind of you talk me through that process, Adam.
Yeah. And then I start going down two different, oh, my hands are all blacked out. I went down two different roads there. So I will say this, I feel comfortable saying this, that any direct primary care is going to be better than an insurance based practice because they're focusing on the patient. There's time, there's availability, all that type of stuff. For the first couple of years, because we opened this in 2018. So the first couple of years, I was trying to be as good as everyone. And then I realized one day, I was like, wait a minute, I think we're kicking butt. For instance, the regular medical stuff, like I've done that forever, so I'm good at that. But some people need hormone therapies. So I went and got certified in hormone therapies. And then I learned about functional medicine. And Dara, my wife, the nurse, she went and got certified in functional medicine. So I it's a curse because as a business owner, it's good to do one thing and monetize it. But I'm a bit of a passionate person. So I was like, well, how do I take better care of people? And we even do a little bit of psychedelic medicine with ketamine. So I keep pushing that little envelope to say, how do we take more, not more better, how do we take better care of humans? Because everyone seems to be struggling and having a tough time, not feeling optimal. We have chronic disease out the wahoo, and that's not normal. It's abnormal. So, but it's average. So trying to fight that, and that's what we do for our patients. So if possible and appropriate, we try to get people off medications. We try to get people feeling better, not feeling good enough, not slowing down disease. We want to reverse it.
Well, that's awesome. I think that's a really good approach that you're continuing to evolve your practice, not just with the needs that you see, but the needs that your clients are bringing to you as well. What do
Yes.
you see, if anything, will be changing medicine in the next 5 to 10 years? And how do you project that people will need to use primary care or utilize different resources? Because I know that you and I have had conversations in detail about getting outside, going on walks, going and working out, and doing things that may just seem normal, but can actually affect your health in more ways than you would have ever imagined. So I guess
All
kind
right.
of talk to people through that.
So thanks for those three questions in one. So there's acute care. So if I have an appendicitis today, like don't tell me, well, Adam, work on your nutrition. Like, no, no, no. This is acute care. Send me to the hospital. So there's always specialty care. The goal in life is to never ever need it. I don't want to have a heart attack. I don't want to have cancer, all these things, but we need that safety net. So there's specialty care. Primary care is primary. It should be the fundamental part of it. You shouldn't be checking boxes because someone said you're X number of years old, so therefore we check this box. It should be personalized, but that's primary care, is to say, how are you doing? But then, and this is where I also kind of goofed myself up a little bit, but the third part is proactive care. And someday maybe that will be primary care, but right now primary care is, if you feel sick today, should you have to go to the hospital because you have a sore throat? No, never. You should have access to a good primary care. But the preventative stuff is, don't answer this, Jake, rhetorical, but what is your risk of having a heart event in the next 20 years? People say, well, Jake's a young stud, he doesn't have this stuff, all these other things going on. Yeah, but we need to think past 1 year. We need to think past 5 years. What about 20 or 30 years? So if there is a risk somewhere, how do we mitigate that? So, and that's lifestyle medicine, longevity, whatever you want to term it. Some people like one term over the other, but the idea of proactive care. And I tell patients a lot that there's kind of like 3 buckets to triage. One is the, oh gosh, this is happening this week, we have to address it. And that's not good. The second one is like, well, this quarter, I'm going to work on my blood sugar, and I need to focus on that. But the third one is, well, the next year or decade or 2 decades, I need to focus on this. So if you're in that phase, that's awesome. That means you have no critical acute stuff going on. And our medical model is such the disconnect between the patient and the medical person that people only go in when something's broken. So yeah, you have diabetes. Now I have to treat you with insulin. Like that's appropriate, but wouldn't it have been nice if we got it early and you didn't get the diabetes, right? Full diagnosis. So that was one of the questions. What was the other one?
No, I think that was extremely helpful, and you kind of answered all those buckets. It was really just kind of getting an understanding of what you view and what you value to help your clients. And I think it's that we all need to take better care of our health, not when something happens, but before it happens.
Yes, and you and I have talked about this before. Yes, what you're hinting at is what I say is ancestral living. And that body of yours, Jake, as trimmed and svelte as it is, it's an animal. And like any animal, it needs some things. It needs nutrition. It needs physical activity, sleep, stress relief. And also, we humans need a sense of purpose. And that can mean many different things. But I just had a 60-something-year-old person in the office before this appointment. And he was tearful. We were talking about life goals and all that kind of stuff. And, he's a rock star. He's a great person. And he's struggling with the sense of purpose part. So everyone's doing it. And you don't see that probably, or on the street, we don't see that. But when they get in that exam room and we shut the door and we say, it's not a 5-minute appointment, let's chill. We got an hour booked. How are you doing? Unfortunately, like across the board, man, people are like, I'm struggling with this. We do labs. I call them a report card. My report card stinks. All these other things, even to the point, like I've had athletes, competitive athletes that are diabetic. Like, how did that happen? Well, no one checked their stuff because they're an athlete. But so you can't cheat the system. So anyway, there's that.
No, I think that's a really good point too. And I think that it's something that is becoming a lot more normalized in the last 5 years, is speaking up and being okay with not being okay. And so I guess kind of talk me through the conversations or maybe things that you're discussing with any of your patients, because your patients seem to be almost more like a friend and you have kind of a relationship with them. Like you said, it's what's going to make you get that form of purpose, or mm-hmm. what is going to make you happy in this world, or what do you want to do for your family? And I think that health is kind of a key factor in all of those things, because without your health, you can't keep going on. So kind of a long-winded question, but I guess what does that kind of look like from your perspective, and how do you feel that your clients are able to kind of address these needs as well to get them, whether it's in a place they're looking for, or at least to open the conversation up to understand, what should I be doing?
Yeah, and what I've started doing with a lot of people, well, I've always done this, but a couple of things. I say, first of all, I think that I'm a human and I think you're a human. So I'm going to treat you like that. Like no one's better or worse than anyone else. In the relationship that I have with a patient, I'm not the boss. I tell them they're the bus driver and I'm the navigator. And I say, if I yell out, take a left, and they're like, screw it, I'm taking a right. That's okay with me. That's their right. So I say that because if I go in there and say, Jake, you need to start eating hot dogs every day. You'll be like, who's this clown? Like, I need to convince you and give you the information, and you make the choice. So I think that really helps to meld the relationship, because so many people go into whatever medical situation and they say, you need to do this. Have a good day, good life to you. And that's a disconnect. So once we put the barriers down and people are not stressed about this guy being an idiot, then we can have a conversation. And then they say, all right, fine, you're not going to tell me what to do. You'll give me good advice. My cholesterol's high. What would you do? And then we have a conversation. Well, here are some options. You should always have options. And there's urgency, this week, this quarter, all that kind of stuff. But there's always options. And I think, as we go into a relationship, and I'm assuming you probably do this with insurance too, you're not going to tell me what to do. You're going to give me options, and I make the choice. But your health is the same way. What I would suggest to anybody is you have to have a relationship with someone who has a clue, and who can hear you, and not just say, well, I read this thing one time that said, no, because you have two eyes, you can't get this. No, they should have a conversation, understand, reiterate what your concern is, and then give you an action plan. Take a left. You say, no, I'm going to take a right. Okay.
No, I think that's awesome. So, Adam, what are the best ways for people to reach out, and for anyone that's watching and understanding, when should I use primary care, and when should I reach out to Adam? Kind of talk us through what that looks like, and kind of what the ideal patient or client, or someone that's really willing to invest in themselves, because that's what it seems like is with you and for them.
Yes. So great way to put it. And a free little tidbit that I'll put out there is to say, if you ever think, and I kind of jokingly put it this way, but if you think you might be dead in 24 hours, you should probably go to the ER. And if you're really hurting or need something quickly and you don't have a good primary care, that's urgent care. And then from there, your primary care should be able to guide you for all things. And I tell my patients, I'm not a god. I don't know everything, but I'm really good at looking things up if I have to. So I think I am not dim-witted. But that's why I get more and more certifications. So like what we do at NewMed is we do a few different things. We do the primary care part. That's NewMed Direct Primary Care. Then we actually have another mastery program where if people want to go the advanced part. So primary care is good now, but if I want to work on that 20-year plan, should I get an advanced scan of my heart, or should I do some genetic analysis to see my cancer risk for XYZ or whatever? So yeah, they can, reach out through the website right there. Or it's adampa@newmedprimarycare.com is the email. But yeah, we talk to people all the time, and pretty passionate about, I tell them, I think we can take better care of our fellow humans. It's not about the money. It's got to be about better care of each other.
Yeah, that's a great point, Adam. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to tell us a little bit more about NewMed today, and all the services that you provide and ways that you help not just your patients, but your friends. So if you have any questions, reach out to Adam directly. Again, we really appreciate you joining us on this interview, and hope you have a great day, Adam.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jake. We'll see y'all later.
Take care.